America's next big mistake will make India the global winner. Now listen up. Every world power that ever existed believed they would rule forever. They convinced themselves the top spot belonged to them permanently. They figured their strength would never weaken, but strength always shifts. And America is walking right into their biggest blunder, yet that quote, what's happening right now, whether folks want to see it or not, you know what America did wrong? They got lazy. They started believing their own hype. For decades, they controlled global markets, set international rules, decided who gets what. Everyone followed along because there was no other choice. But choices multiply when you're not paying attention. And India became the choice America never prepared for. Here's the thing about India's growth. It wasn't handed to them. They earned it through decades of grinding, learning, adapting. When the world said India was too poor to matter, India quietly built their economy. When critics claimed India was too divided to succeed, India unified around progress. They took every doubt and turned it into fuel. America, quote, critical error is assuming India will behave like other nations they've dealt with. They expect India to back down when pressured, to compromise when threatened, to comply when demanded, but India operates differently. Press India and they innovate around you. Block India and they build alternate routes. Challenge India and they rise to meet it. Consider this scenario. America decides to cut off technology access to India, thinking it'll cripple their tech sector. What happens instead? India accelerates domestic innovation, creates homegrown solutions, then exports those solutions globally at lower costs. Suddenly, America's cutting themselves out of markets they used to dominate. That pattern repeats everywhere. Energy, defense, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, every sector where America tries to limit India's access becomes a sector where India develops independence. And independence becomes competitive advantage. Look at defense spending. America pours billions into weapon systems, creating expensive solutions for complex problems. India takes the same challenges and engineers simpler, cheaper alternatives that work just as well. Then they sell those alternatives to countries priced out of American systems. That's not just smart business, it's strategic disruption. The medical field tells the same story. When global health crises hit, America hoards resources and restricts exports. India scales up production and supplies the world. Guess who developing nations trust more now? The country that helps or the country that hoards? Let me explain what's really driving this shift. America built their dominance during an era when information moved slowly, when geography mattered more, when technology was scarce. But we live in a connected world now. Information travels instantly. Geography means less. Technology spreads rapidly. In this new environment, India's advantages shine brighter. They've got massive domestic markets that provide testing grounds for innovations. They've got cost structures that make their solutions globally competitive. They've got English-speaking populations that can interface with any market worldwide. These aren't temporary benefits. They're structural advantages. Meanwhile, America's advantages from the old era become disadvantages in the new one. High labor costs make their products expensive. Complex regulations slow down innovation. Political divisions prevent long-term planning. These aren't temporary setbacks. They're systemic problems. But here's America's biggest blind spot. They keep measuring strength using old metrics, military budgets, GDP size, stock market values. But real influence today comes from being useful, being needed, being the solution to problems other countries face. India figured this out early. Instead of competing directly with American strengths, they positioned themselves as the alternative when American solutions don't fit. Need affordable health care? India delivers. Want cost-effective technology? India provides. Looking for reliable partners? India shows up. This positioning strategy is genius because it doesn't require defeating America head-to-head. It just requires being there when America isn't, offering what America won't, solving what America ignores. Consider Africa as an example. America approaches African nations with conditions, requirements, political demands. India approaches with solutions, infrastructure projects, technology transfers, trade partnerships with fewer strings attached. Which approach do you think